He's the quick-witted, effortlessly charming face of some of the world's most successful films and brand campaigns. Whether delivering razor-sharp one-liners as Deadpool or pulling heartstrings in real-life moments with his wife Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds has become a figure who seamlessly blends humor with heart. But behind the red carpets, behind the meme-worthy moments and perfectly timed tweets, lies a man whose journey to stardom is as layered as any blockbuster script. In 2025, Ryan Reynolds isn't just an actor. He's a mogul, a father, a husband, a storyteller, and perhaps, most interestingly, a master of reinvention. While his Instagram posts may scream ease and charisma, his life story is one of grit, persistence, heartbreak, and above all, evolution. This is a journey that begins in the suburbs of Canada and unfolds into a global narrative of fame, fortune, and family. Today, his face is instantly recognizable across continents, but his beginnings were anything but glamorous. This is the story of how Ryan Reynolds built an empire with a laugh, how he found enduring love in a world that often makes it fleeting, and how he quietly became one of the wealthiest and most admired figures in entertainment. So, how did a kid from Vancouver grow into Hollywood's favorite anti-hero? How did he balance blockbuster fame with family dinners and billion-dollar business moves? The answers are as surprising as the man himself. Humble beginnings in Vancouver. Long before the world knew his name, Ryan Rodney Reynolds was just a quiet boy growing up in Vancouver, British Columbia. Born on October 23, 1976, he was the youngest of four brothers in a working-class family. His father, James Chester Reynolds, was a food wholesaler and former police officer. His mother, Tammy, worked in retail. Life wasn't cushy, but it was grounded in values, hard work, humility, and resilience. Ryan often described his childhood as deeply ordinary but emotionally complex. With three older brothers, there was competition, chaos, and a certain toughness that he says helped him later navigate the intensity of Hollywood. But there was also an underlying sensitivity, a thread of anxiety that he wouldn't publicly speak about until much later in life. He attended Kitsilano Secondary School and, like many kids his age, had no clear idea of what the future held. Acting wasn't a family tradition, nor was it seen as a practical career path. But at the age of 13, Ryan landed a role in a Canadian teen soap opera called Hillside, known as 15 in the US. The show offered modest fame, but more importantly, it opened a door. Still, those early days were riddled with uncertainty. After high school, Reynolds enrolled at Kwantlen Polytechnic University, but soon dropped out to pursue acting full-time. It wasn't a decision met with unanimous support. Many questioned whether a future in show business was even remotely viable. And for a time, Ryan questioned it himself. The road was anything but smooth. There were years of auditions, small roles, and self-doubt. He even considered quitting more than once, but something kept him going. A quiet inner voice that insisted he hadn't yet scratched the surface of his potential. Chasing Hollywood dreams. In his early 20s, Ryan made the bold leap from Vancouver to Los Angeles, chasing the shimmer of Hollywood with nothing but a beat-up Jeep and a suitcase full of hope. He often jokes about those early years, filled with ramen dinners and rejection, but behind the humor lies a very real struggle. The transition was grueling. He took roles in lesser-known sitcoms and TV movies, often cast as the comedic sidekick or charming slacker. But even in forgettable roles, there was something undeniable about him, a magnetic quality that drew people in. Producers noticed. Audiences began to remember the name. In 2002, Reynolds landed his breakout film role in Van Wilder, Party Liaison. The character, a charismatic, eternally enrolled college student, played perfectly to Ryan's strengths. The film wasn't a critical darling, but it struck gold with a generation of college kids. And more importantly, it put Ryan Reynolds on the Hollywood map. But he didn't want to be boxed in as the funny guy forever. Over the next several years, he began taking risks, starring in thrillers like The Amityville Horror, romantic comedies like Definitely, Maybe, and action-heavy films like Blade, Trinity. Each role was a calculated attempt to break the mold and prove he was more than just a one-note performer. Yet behind the scenes, he grappled with doubt and occasional disillusionment. Hollywood, he found, could be both dazzling and dehumanizing. But with each success and each stumble, he learned, he adapted, and perhaps most importantly, he endured. Reinventing the leading man. By the 2010s, Ryan Reynolds had earned his place in Hollywood, but he was still seeking something more. Something that felt uniquely his. That moment arrived in red spandex. Deadpool wasn't just another superhero movie, it was a passion project, a cinematic gamble that had been years in the making. Reynolds had fought hard behind the scenes to bring the foul-mouthed anti-hero to life, even after a disastrous first attempt in X-Men Origins, Wolverine. But he never let go of the character. And in 2016, when Deadpool finally hit theaters, it didn't just succeed, it exploded. Audiences saw a different kind of superhero, sarcastic, broken, hilarious, and painfully human. It wasn't just a movie role, it was a mirror to Reynolds himself. The film grossed over $780 million worldwide and turned him into a global icon. He followed it with an equally successful sequel, cementing his place as one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. But success didn't make him complacent. Instead, it ignited a fire. He used his newfound clout to explore a wide range of projects, from voice work in animated films to producing edgy comedies, and even launching his own production company, Maximum Effort. He began choosing roles that challenged him, that allowed him to flex more than just his comedic muscles. In the process, Ryan Reynolds didn't just reinvent his image, he redefined what it meant to be a leading man in modern cinema. Vulnerable, yet strong. Funny, yet profound. A star who didn't just shine, but transformed every room he walked into. A businessman in disguise. While audiences saw him as a superhero or heartthrob, behind the scenes, Ryan Reynolds was carefully constructing something far greater than a film career. He was building a business empire. It started with Aviation American Gin. When Reynolds acquired a stake in the boutique gin brand in 2018, most assumed it was just another celebrity endorsement. But Ryan rolled up his sleeves. He became the face, the voice, and the heart of the company. His self-deprecating humor turned commercials into viral sensations, and his creative involvement drove sales through the roof. In 2020, Aviation was sold to beverage giant Diageo for a deal reportedly worth up to $610 million. But that was only the beginning. Next came Mint Mobile, a low-cost wireless carrier that positioned itself as the witty, underdog alternative to telecom giants. Reynolds bought a significant stake and injected his signature comedic style into every campaign. The result? Explosive growth. By 2023, Mint Mobile was acquired by T-Mobile in a deal valued at $1.35 billion. And then there was Wrexham. In a move that surprised the world, Ryan Reynolds and fellow actor Rob McElhenney purchased the struggling Welsh football club Wrexham AFC. What could have been a novelty act became a global phenomenon, chronicled in the hit documentary series Welcome to Wrexham. Their investment wasn't just financial, it was deeply emotional, cultural, and community-driven. Wrexham's revival became a modern sports fairy tale. From brands to soccer, Reynolds proved he wasn't just cashing in on fame, he was innovating, investing, and storytelling in ways few actors ever had. By 2025, his business ventures contributed just as much to his wealth and influence as his acting roles. Ryan Reynolds, once just a funny guy from Vancouver, had become one of Hollywood's most respected businessmen. The Blake Lively love story. It's one of Hollywood's most beloved romances, not because it's scandalous or dramatic, but because it feels real, grounded, human. Ryan Reynolds met Blake Lively on the set of Green Lantern in 2010. They were both coming off past relationships, both guarded, and both unsure of what lay ahead. But something clicked. They started out as friends, close friends, the kind of friendship where they brought dates for each other, only to realize their chemistry wasn't just for the screen. By 2011, they were dating. A year later, they married in a private ceremony in South Carolina. What followed was a marriage that seemed to defy the odds of celebrity culture. Away from the paparazzi and public drama, they built a life rooted in love and laughter. They welcomed their first daughter, James, in 2014. Then came Inez in 2016, followed by Betty in 2019. And in 2023, they announced the birth of their fourth child, whose name remains a well-guarded secret. Their social media banter, full of loving roasts and playful jabs, only added to the allure. But beneath the humor lies a relationship marked by mutual respect and unwavering support. They rarely walk red carpets without each other, and both have spoken candidly about the importance of prioritizing family. To Ryan, Blake isn't just his partner in life. She's his muse, his rock, his greatest collaborator. Together, they've created not just a family, but a sanctuary. Living large, mansions and real estate. For all his humility and wit, Ryan Reynolds lives like a man who knows how to enjoy the fruits of his labor. But in true Reynolds fashion, his version of luxury is more about peace than pretense. His primary residence is a sprawling, secluded estate in Pound Ridge, New York. The home, which he shares with Blake and their children, is set on several acres of woodland and offers privacy, tranquility, and timeless charm. The couple reportedly paid over $5 million for the property, which features a classic colonial-style home, organic gardens, and wide-open outdoor spaces, perfect for a growing family. In addition to their East Coast haven, the Reynolds Lively family is rumored to own property in Los Angeles and possibly abroad. Though they keep their real estate dealings quiet, sources have noted their interest in properties in London and Canada, hinting at a lifestyle that balances global travel with grounded roots. The couple is known for their preference for understated elegance. Their homes aren't decked in gold or flaunting opulence. Instead, they reflect a warmth and character that mirrors the couple themselves, thoughtful, curated, and family-focused. Even their home purchases tell a story not of extravagance, but of comfort, not of celebrity, but of sanctuary, a place where one of Hollywood's most famous families can just be. Driving in style, cars of Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds' garage may not be the flashiest in Hollywood, but it certainly tells a story. A story of refinement, personality, and a blend of luxury and practicality. He's been spotted behind the wheel of a variety of rides over the years, including the understated yet sleek Tesla Model S, a nod to both environmental awareness and cutting-edge technology. But Reynolds also has a love for classic cars. He's been seen driving vintage models like the Cadillac Escalade and even a Triumph Bonneville motorcycle, showing his appreciation for timeless design and a touch of rebellion. That said, he isn't a stranger to supercars. Reynolds has occasionally been linked to high-performance vehicles like the Audi R8 and the Porsche 911, offering a glimpse into his thrill-seeking side. Yet, unlike many of his peers, he doesn't flaunt his rides on social media. There are no garage tours or flex-worthy photo ops. His car collection, much like his persona, is tastefully restrained. Every vehicle in his rotation seems to reflect a different part of him. The electric Tesla for the modern innovator, the classic Bonneville for the adventurer, the luxurious SUV for the family man. It's not about making a statement. It's about driving through life on his own terms. A net worth that keeps climbing. By 2025, Ryan Reynolds' estimated net worth is north of $350 million, a staggering figure built not just on blockbuster paychecks, but on strategic, long-term investments that proved as lucrative as they were unexpected. His career isn't just about what he earns, it's how he earns it. His films routinely pull in hundreds of millions at the box office, with Deadpool, The Proposal, and Free Guy among the biggest hits. But it's the back-end deals and producer credits that truly distinguish him. Reynolds isn't just an actor for hire. He's a creative partner in many of the projects he touches, allowing him a larger piece of the financial pie. Outside Hollywood, his brand investments have paid off exponentially. The sale of Aviation Gin and Mint Mobile alone accounts for over $1 billion in valuation. Then there's his production company, Maximum Effort, which has expanded into ad agency territory, churning out content for major brands and generating millions in revenue annually. Real estate, endorsements, and sports ownership add further layers to his fortune. And yet, for all this success, Reynolds has managed to avoid the trappings of excess. He invests smart, spends wisely, and continues to surprise even the savviest analysts with just how adaptable he is in the marketplace. Ryan Reynolds doesn't just have a net worth, he has a net value. To studios, to investors, and to fans who see in him the rare combination of financial savvy and creative brilliance. More than just money, philanthropy, and humor. Even as his wealth soars, Ryan Reynolds has never lost sight of what matters. Over the years, he's donated millions to causes that resonate deeply with him: mental health awareness, marginalized communities, children's hospitals, and disaster relief efforts. He and Blake Lively have quietly emerged as one of Hollywood's most philanthropic couples. They've given generously to Feeding America, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and Water First, among others. But just as powerful as the money is the message Ryan spreads with his humor. He uses his platform not just to promote his work, but to uplift others, spark conversations, and normalize vulnerability. His posts about anxiety and therapy have reached millions, offering comfort and connection to those silently struggling. He doesn't take himself too seriously, but he takes his impact seriously. Whether it's raising awareness through sarcasm or donating quietly behind the scenes, Reynolds has shown that real power lies not in fame or fortune, but in using both for good. Behind the laughs, family, privacy, and peace. What makes Ryan Reynolds truly unique isn't his career or his cars. It's the life he's built off-screen. In a world where celebrity often comes with exposure, Ryan and Blake have created a world of intentional privacy. No paparazzi tours, no oversharing, just quiet moments with their children, their crafts, and each other. Ryan has said many times that fatherhood changed everything for him. It made him softer, more grounded, more focused. He schedules films around his kids' school calendars. He turns down roles that pull him away for too long. And he guards their identities with a quiet fierceness that only a father can truly understand. At his core, Reynolds is a man who found fame but never let it eclipse his values. He lives for the still moments, morning pancakes, walks through the woods, reading stories at bedtime. These are the scenes of his real life, unscripted and sacred. Final reflection: the legacy of Ryan Reynolds. What will Ryan Reynolds be remembered for? The laughs? The box office hits? The billion-dollar business moves? Likely all of them. But perhaps his true legacy lies in his ability to stay human in a world that often strips that away. He's the kind of star who shows up fully, not just as an actor, but as a husband, father, and citizen. His journey is proof that success doesn't have to come at the cost of integrity. That you can be wildly ambitious and deeply kind. That you can be funny and still be taken seriously. As 2025 unfolds, Ryan Reynolds stands as a model for a new generation of entertainers, one that values balance over burnout, empathy over ego, and storytelling over spectacle. And that legacy, it's just beginning. Call to action. Join the journey from humble beginnings to worldwide fame. Ryan Reynolds' story is one of transformation, grit, and grace. If you enjoyed this journey through his extraordinary life, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Because behind every great icon is a greater story still waiting to be told.